Welcome to the Courage Never Quits podcast, where members of the West Point class of 1986 tell their stories. I'm your host, Paul LaFontaine. As always, the views expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and not of West Point, the Army, or any organization. Let's go to the podcast. Welcome to the CNQ podcast. I have two distinguished guests today. Jim Hradecky and Kevin McKelvy are on. We're going to talk a little bit about finance and giving to the Academy. But first of all, Kevin, where are you at today? Catch us up on what's going on with you.
Hey, how you doing, Pilaf? I'm glad you're doing this. I'm in New Jersey, in Bergen County, doing business development stuff for George Mason University and doing some side hustle stuff as well. But glad to be on and talking about fundraising for the class.
Yeah, there you go. Jim, how about yourself?
So I'm still in New Hampshire. Been here for 20 years, raised a family here. I am mostly retired. There's one company that I still haven't found the right home for, but I've gotten rid of the rest of my business interests. And I have two kids in college, so I'm trying to spend as much time with them. I have a daughter at Hofstra. She's a sophomore, and my son is a cow in D1 at West Point right now. And so back and forth and, going to the football games and just trying to enjoy them as much as they'll have me.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy it. Well, I went to an event at the Academy, and I learned in a completely backward way from an 83 grad who'd had a nice evening out. And he was going on and on about ways to give that were quite innovative and clever. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I ended up talking to this gentleman until late in the night. And I only thought the way you could give was like to write a check. And he was talking about all different ways you can actually support the Academy and the class. Yeah. And I learned a ton from that person. And when Kevin called me and said, hey, we have an idea for a podcast. I said, that's so wonderful, because having to listen to that inebriated older grad is not the best experience that you really want. So let's get it from classmates who are in the light of day and sober. But first of all, I will say this is what we're about to talk about is not tax advice. We're not your accountant. We're not qualified for that. So we're going to talk a bit about money and taxes and things like that. But this is classmates giving information to each other. Always consult with your tax advisor, because your situation is unique to you. So that's the video there. Plus, Kevin, I'll turn it over to you and talk a little about what we're doing with fundraising.
Right on. Plus, if you've seen my rock math scores, you really don't want to take my math advice. I'm just saying. Unless you have a high risk threshold, in which case, take the shot. At any rate, so Terry Finley and I are the co-chairs of the class giving committee for the past couple of years, and under the tutelage and adult supervision of Megan Dill at AOG. We're going into the last year, or the final year before our reunion, where we'll culminate the class gift milestone. We're looking to donate $2.5 million, and then there's a lot of details. You guys have seen the traffic and the emails about that. We'll be updating you as we go along. And so we're familiar with the standard give of, hey, Kevin and Terry ask for money, send a check. Okay, check. Got that as a technique. Then there's also matching gifts, which if you're working with a corporation or part of a corporation, you give some, the company has agreed to give some too. So people are pretty up on that technique, and it's time tested and pretty widespread, all valid, great stuff. There's a couple other techniques that are becoming more prominent, or people are becoming more aware of as they get more successful and read that as older. And this is one of them. So the appreciated securities approach to giving is one that maybe lesser known, and to demystify it, Jim Hradecky, we were talking about his gift. He came up and said, "Hey, look, here's the gift, and here's how I'm going to do it." And it was in that appreciated securities category, and it was timely, and it was really interesting. I thought, "Hey, man, why don't we just get on together and talk about it, and share that with the class, and if it fits for you, that's awesome. Just another technique, a way to make your money more efficient. So I wanted to open the floor up to Jim. It's kind of let us know just sort of how did you approach the gift, and how did the idea to do appreciated securities as opposed to the other techniques come up, because it was really eye opening and a great idea. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I found myself in a situation I hadn't been in before, and that is this year, initial early yearly investments into tech stocks. All of a sudden, with what's been happening in the world and the financial markets, those stocks that I had bought early in the year, they were up 100% or even more than that by September, October. And there's a big tax implication if you sell in a short term. But more importantly, the stocks had reached the levels where I wasn't going to buy them anymore. So if you're not buying a stock, you might consider selling part of the stock. And I said, well, it stinks if I sell it. I have a big tax burden. So why don't I find a way? And it's common. It's not difficult. It's just detailed. Big difference between difficult and detailed. It's detailed how I can give that stock to a charitable organization like CNQ, Class of '86,
as an example.
And so as a quick example, if I had spent $1,000 on a stock in January and now it's $2,000 in September, I can give that stock to the class. The value is $2,000. They don't pay any taxes on it. I don't pay any taxes on it. And really, it only cost me what my basis was for that $1,000 in this example. So for $1,000, I get to give $2,000. Now, that there's also sort of a tax benefit that I would get by donating $2,000. And so the way I looked at it is, it's a unique situation because I haven't really been investing in stocks that are up $100,000 in 7 or 8 months before. But this year I found myself in that situation because of all the tech stocks and everything is blowing up, especially from earlier in the year to now. And so I worked with, I brought it up to Terry in September. I talked to, Terry and Kevin in October, and then I just got the email on how to do it, and I transferred the stock over to them. That was it. The class gets the full benefit of the list price of the stock when it's donated. I'm not paying any taxes on that donation, obviously, and I'm only out my cost basis minus my charitable donation that I get to claim on my tax return. So if you're looking for a way to really give to the class, but you don't want to have to write a check for $2,000, take the money you have in the stock is already a cost that you already expended. It's a sunken cost, and you can give the money to the class that way. So I hope I haven't confused anybody. I'm not a professional investor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was it was a great gift, and appreciate your coming on and sharing that with us. So yeah, the class cause is very worthwhile, as you're calling out. Your son's right in the middle of that. The BD that I've been doing with down in George Mason is government research and development focused, and that the pervasiveness of cyber is huge. And when you look across the programs that in the country that are teaching it and innovating in it, there's very few that are going to have kind of resources that this center is going to create for our guys and gals. So I think it's a real possibility of being a game changer. And I think Big Army is able to tap into that relationship as well and funnel a lot of that brain power and research into it, and it's immediately usable on the battlefield of today. So anything that'll help.
For you, Kevin.
Go ahead.
People may not understand this element. What gets counted in our 40th gift, right? So there's people who give 5 years ago. There's people who give today. There's people who have use an instrument like Jim was able to do.
Sure.
what all is counted in there? Because there's lots of ways to give. If
Yeah.
I give to the Army sport, the A club, is that part of it? How does all that work? And what do we get credit for as a class?
Right. That's a good question. And the short answer is it depends, which is the go-to.
Sure.
If during one of these fundraisers, broader fundraisers for West Point, you give to, let's say, Army Athletic Association, and you don't designate a class of 86 relationship to the donation, the class won't get credit for that. We won't see it. It'll just kind of go into that kitty. So what counts is everything that has been donated in the last 5 years for this particular goal.
As long as
the
classmate has put, I'm in the class of 86 associated with that.
Yeah, counted toward the class gift. If you designated that direction, then it gets counted. And so yeah, that's the short answer.
Yeah, an example would be like, we're season ticket holders for football, so we give money to the Army Athletic Association. Okay,
right.
None of that counts towards the class gift, because I didn't say I want this to count toward the class gift. This is counting toward the Army Athletic Association. So this is a separate donation for the class gift, to Kevin's point. So if I gave $500 to Army Athletic and $500 to the class, only $500 would count towards the class gift next year.
Good clarification.
Right on. So now we're at about 30% of the class having given in this campaign, and love to see that number grow. What do I want that number to grow to? Terry and I talked about it. 80% would be awesome, but it would be record breaking. I'd say if we get to 60% of the class giving, I think we would be that'd be remarkable. That's right.
Whatever you can give.
That's right. What you can give joyfully, we welcome gladly. And like I said, I don't think there's a big question about whether it's worthwhile and whether it would be impactful, because I think that's self-evident.
Yeah, the academy and the science side is really training on nimbleness and flexibility, because they know with drones and VHF frequencies and all this other stuff, they better be nimble, they better be quick, and they better understand how to make stuff work. And that's what this cyber center is going to be about.
Yeah.
So you could also make the case that having the government's tax code accelerate your investment, so that when you're standing by the punch bowl and somebody says, "Hey, you donated 2,000 when you actually only donated 1,000," would bring joy.
It would bring joy, prosperity, and
look at the smile on Jim's face. Look at it.
I just want the cadets to have what they need. I remember the first time I visited the library decades ago. I was blown away by that Jefferson Library.
Yeah,
it's a game changer. You go to the Jefferson Library right now, in these rooms, they're doing video calls all over the world with people, with grads that are in other countries, with people from other countries that have never been to one. It's an amazing facility. It's a huge tutoring center that has all these assets. The cyber building's going to be like that. In areas of discovery with ones and zeros that guys like you, we haven't even thought of. We won't even think of in our lifetime. And I think that's a huge gift. If you want to give to the long gray line and everything that they could be, they need this tech.
This will give our guys and gals the ability to approach that internally and be able to also supervise those vendors, those vendors who are going to provide services to us. So thanks.
So Kevin, if someone like Jim or other folks are come into a situation where they have a unique financial opportunity. Certainly at our stage of life, all sorts of things happen that we don't need to go too deep into, but it could be, any one of a number of things. What's the best way to do other than calling Terry Finley and getting on the golf course, which sounds like that's a sure way to find answers. But what's the best way to reach out? Do you get people in touch with financial advisors? How does that work where you can kind of plan it out? Some of these things like the gift that Jim made.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that short answer is you can always call me or Terry.
Okay.
And we'll get you where you need to be. We'll walk with you to where you need to be, to get done what we're trying to do, the donation that you're trying to make, in the way that you're trying to make it. AOG is a great resource as well. Megan Dill is our class class representative for AOG, and so if you haven't already gotten an email with our message from me and Terry, that talks through, that basically says, hey, please give, and then it's got the methods to give. There's some information in there and some phone numbers in there to be able to call to follow up to execute it. And of course, your normal financial advisor, your family advisor, your business advisor is a great resource as well. And we're all plugged in. So somewhere between those three or four approaches, we can get it done.
And I'll reiterate here that we're not tax advisors. We're not giving you tax advice. Jim had an opportunity to give. He talked it through. Talk to your tax advisor. Your situation is unique to you. Right? So,
right on.
Great story. Kevin, we got to have you back on more often. Maybe Coach Finley or
yeah, I think it'd be a lot.
Finley in here if we get him off the golf course and out running his horses around, all the kind of stuff he does.
Yeah, I want to talk. I want to talk about my old Kentucky home. I went to high school in Kentucky, which is where Finley's living right now. So,
there you go.
Smell of bluegrass means home to me.
There you go. Good stuff. Jim, always good to see you. Thanks for sharing your story. It's interesting, right?
It's my pleasure. And, it was not something I was trained for. It just happened. And so, listen, anybody who knows me, anytime I can give to a charitable cause that's worthwhile and not give any more to the government than I have to, sign me up. And,
absolutely. It sounds great.
It's great to talk about this. If it creates an opportunity, even for one person, then it's worth it.
Great, Kevin.
Thanks for bringing us on. Thanks for doing this. The CNQ podcast in general, and this in particular. Really appreciate you. Well done. I'm a longtime viewer, first time caller.
Yeah, right. Look how easy it was. Next we have you on, just talk about you and all that math wizardry you got.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
take
everybody.
care.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Courage Never Quits podcast, where any member of the class of 1986 who is willing to tell their story will be a guest. To get the word out and stay up to date on the latest episodes, hit the like and subscribe button. With over 900 living graduates, we have a lot of stories to tell, and you don't want to miss any of them. We'll see you in the next episode.